Hi, Ms. Zeglin here for Middle School Art Appreciation, and this is topic 15, Contemporary Art in Europe. So this chapter starts out showing us this Andy Goldworthy Japanese maple leaves stitched together. So now we're going to see in contemporary art that artists are using natural materials, they're using old materials, but they're using them in new ways. And they're also using totally new materials like light and video and installation art that is new. After World War II, in which Europe totally devastated, not just physically from bombings, and we lost a lot of artwork, a lot of cathedrals, a lot of buildings, castles, all of that were destroyed through the war, but also people had a different attitude of, almost despair. Family members may have died or been wounded or injured. Mentally, people were trying to recover. So the art center actually is said to have moved from Paris, France to New York City, New York, because the artist left Europe, you know. And I'm trying not to get too much into the history, but, for various reasons, those artists from Europe then influenced artists in America. Okay, and they're talking about how we live in a global society. We have artists from India who have studios in London who are creating works in America. Contemporary art can also be called postmodern art. But so if we say the modern art ended around 70s or 80s, everything after that time would be considered contemporary, like the now artwork. And they're just saying, take a look at this cloud gate. And one thing you want to notice, and when I first looked at this, I didn't notice, but it's kind of like this weird bean shape. But look inside of that, and you're seeing, the reflection of the Chicago skyline kind of inverted or changed. So the art is using the environment around it, okay, to influence it. Okay, so it actually looks kind of dangerous, like that thing might just flip over, but I'm sure it is fine. Okay, and let's move on. There's a lot of new things to learn about. Okay, so conceptual art. Think of conceptual like a concept or an idea. So Duchamp, and he's the one in the Marcel Duchamp in the last chapter did that sculpture of like the wheel, like the bicycle wheel. He did things like that. Nude descending a staircase is one of his very famous paintings. But he thinks that, or thought that art should be a mental and not a physical activity. So this would be like performance art, like a flash mob, okay, would be a type of this type of conceptual or, performance art, but the idea is what is important, okay, not what actually happens. So, and Duchamp also did that painting of the Mona Lisa with a mustache on it. And again, that could cause legal problems, if something is plagiarized or copyrighted nowadays, with all the laws we have to protect artists. I am not saying they're bad, but they could cause a problem for artists doing that type of work today. Installation art today is huge. Like I said, if you go to something like the Pittsburgh Arts Festival, a lot of the galleries are going to have full installation art. The Mattress Factory in Pittsburgh, full installations. And I think they're really cool. Sometimes they might be extremely strange, like you really are like, what is this? But with the light, the sound, sometimes the smells, and what you see. And sometimes you're even doing things, going down a slope, you're in the dark, lights are flashing. It really is more of the experience than the art. Okay, so they're showing us um, the seated guardian figure, you know, that looks like it's in Spain. They're 9 feet tall. Okay, so walking through that garden, are people going to interact with that? Are they going to walk through it? How are people going to feel? You can't ignore those. They're pretty big and they're orange. What is the point of it? Off the top of my head, I can't say. What do you think the point of it is? Okay, somebody's feet. This is called My Trophies. And again, we have a lot of different things going on. A different group of media is used. It's a photograph, there's acrylic paint, charcoal, and pastels, on this print. And, pretty different. I don't know. Would you want that hanging in your house? Maybe you think it's cool. Maybe you think it's hideous. Okay. Modern art really elicits an reaction. And again, we have these earthworks that we can look at, made with natural materials. Now, here's a question for you. Do you think this is going to last? Something made out of leaves? Why are people using things from the environment? And I'm thinking, no, it probably would not last, because natural materials are going to decay and change over time. Okay. In sculpture, definitely some interesting sculptures here. This one, Agora, and if you read the text, it's telling you this artist creates sculptures for those who have no voice. She lived for 45 years under Soviet rule, and if you know anything about the history of the Soviet Union, you would know they lived under a communist government. People did not have freedom, and this is what we're talking about: Lenin, Stalin, Khrushchev. And this goes right up until communism fell, and then the Soviet Union again broke up into countries like Russia, Georgia, Ukraine, a lot of these places that are in the news today, Uzbekistan, all of these places were once the Soviet Union where people did not have a voice. So, and she's saying these are crowded, headless people. They just look like legs and torsos. They can't talk. That has a pretty deep meaning. Now, do all of these have a meaning? I don't know. You'd really have to look into that for yourself. Okay, and let's move on. Okay, painting. Contemporary painting is going to go from hyper realistic, where the painting looks like a photograph, to totally non objective. Okay, and some of this even looks like op art, but we have a huge range of European artists doing works like this. Okay, it's like we have different looks, different messages. There's a lot of variety in contemporary art in Europe. And again, this is only some of the art being produced. A lot more out there. Okay, thanks for watching.